Okay, so going to carry on with reading some of these out from this book. Taken by the tide. From song, when certain feelings arise, you have to hide in case the eye causes a tidal wave of pain. Like a riptide to the brain, sometimes it might be best, if the feelings really put you to the test, to let them go like flotsam being taken out to sea, just set them free. Don't let bad thoughts take you for a ride. Summary. This poem is my attempt to describe how I try to tackle dealing with people who are quick to anger, hard to please, hold grudges, and go over and over previous problems or arguments in their minds. The best thing to do is not get pulled into a fight with them like a swimmer in a strong sea current taken unawares. Instead, let the anguish they try to incite in you gently float on by until it's lost as a speck on the horizon. Yeah, I've had to do this quite a lot in recent years. There are sometimes some people in my life who like to, like I say, just go over and over the same things again and again, and just gets to a point where you think, I don't want to engage in that argument with them anymore. Yeah, so this one is Taken by the Sky. Birds in flight, bringing their songs in the morning, giving a warning of a winter that might be fawning, quiet at night, saving up their night. Nature that rocks without any digital clocks. Kings of their own lives, working so hard, never taking skies. Singing for their own winning, wondering when their young will fly the nest and face life's test. This one's just got a very short summary. I haven't really finished the summary for this one. I wrote this poem while thinking about birdsong and how they sing different songs to warn about different things. This one doesn't have a summary. I might have to re-record this one once I've written a summary at some point. But yeah, this one is Thoughts of Love. Riding a feeling that leaves you reeling, butterflies and humming, something that keeps your life running. Thinking of that special someone who makes you feel loved. Minding your best thoughts while it isn't unhappiness that courts. Finding yourself loved is definitely not the worst thing. Happiness and love that could begin a great time. No more enemy rhyme, maybe a wedding and a love greeting. Yeah, this one's a little bit abstract, I think. Kind of, just, yeah, like it, random thoughts put together, kind of. Not quite random. But yeah. Yeah. I need to write a summary for these. Even if they haven't got lots of space at the bottom of summary, like still necessary something explaining my thoughts about them. Page 14. Finding true love. It can seem like a lifetime of waiting and wondering. When will I find what I've been looking for? Like walking through a world without peacetime, leaving you pondering. What's the point in life without happiness and love? But once you find that true love, it can be more like your life has what it needs, like a book that one so easily reads. Feeling at home with someone who knows what you need, not like a dog on a lead or someone following without thinking. More like two people moving their lives forward in a way that leaves neither feeling lost or forgotten. Again, this one isn't me writing about a recent feeling of finding true love, and I don't always know whether I believe in like this idea of true love compared to just love, but it sounds nice. Yeah. So this one, it's not that hard to think back to times in the past when I've been in love, and it is a nice feeling. So I was just trying to capture some of that in the poem. I like the bit where it can be more like your life has what it needs, like a book that one so easily reads. Because sometimes you read a book and it feels like, I don't know, like it was just 50 pages, and you look at it and it was like 300 or 500 pages or however long it might be. But you just you think back and you're like, how did I read that so quickly? Or there might be other books where you read the first few chapters and you're like, oh, I don't know if I can actually bother to finish all of this. That feeling of when you just know that something's right and you immediately know that it isn't right. Yeah. Fighting for love. Again, this one I have to mention. I think I had the same. I do that sometimes. If I've written, I think I wrote these, one day after the other. And I wasn't necessarily thinking back to that poem, but I had the same thoughts on my mind. It's 2 lines that are saying butterflies and humming. I think, you know, that feeling of having butterflies in your stomach, that nice feeling. That was what I was thinking about. So yeah, I've got that line is in both thoughts of love and fighting for love. Yeah. Falling in love, butterflies and humming, something to keep a life running. And yeah, again, something that keeps your life running. So that's a very similar line. Yeah, something less fleeting that lasts longer than a chance meeting. Dreams of love that fill a heart with a song sung so sweetly, a fight worth keeping. The idea of never losing someone you loved, a place for a good feeling, shouldn't be left for those with no healing. A purse that overflows isn't worth so much if there's no one to share it with. Yeah, this one, that feeling, I think I was thinking about those times when a relationship might feel like it's not going that well, and part of you is maybe telling you to give up on it, but then you also think, no, it's worth fighting for. It's worth, a fight worth keeping. And yeah, the bit about shouldn't be left for those with no healing is me thinking about even when people are having problems in their life, it's not a reason to give up on each other. As long as you're as long as you're willing to work through the problems, like to heal the issues that you're having. Yeah. Yeah, and the bit about a purse that overflows isn't worth so much if there's no one to share it with. I was just thinking about that idea that you could have all the money in the world, but if you have no friends and no family that want to be around you, what's the point? You'd be like Mr. Burns. Yeah. Yeah, page 16. When Renault loved Squall, they danced at a ball, for it was for a garden, like a shell that would harden. They kept faith with each other, so their love could be worth saving. They walked half the earth, looking for the answers to where they felt nothing could stop the lunatic Pandora. Ragnarok was their ship, but the tidal waves of monsters let rip, and a world that couldn't be lost wasn't worth living through frost. Such a deep cost for a love that left a rift through time that wouldn't shift, and a garden that left seeds couldn't be sown until their feelings were known. I think I might have written the wrong word there. Rather than left, I think it was felt. A garden that felt seeds couldn't be sown until their feelings were known. And I'll have to double check that one. Summary. This poem is based on the love story found within Final Fantasy VIII and the disaster that faces their world when lunatic Pandora is released and thousands of monsters rain down on their planet from the moon. It's a play on the idea that they were trained in a garden and seeds of love being sown. But also it mentions for a love that left a rift through time that wouldn't shift, because at the end of Final Fantasy VIII there's like a time compression thing. The ultimate aim of Ultimecia, the final boss, if I'm remembering this correctly, it's been quite a long time since I played it, was time compression. And you had to go through this castle with lots of the monsters that you had fought through the game, but that it was kind of all weirdly shifted, and there were like bits that were you were being timed, and if you didn't do it quick enough, you had to go back to a previous section. But yeah, it was interesting storyline. And I think as well the bit about living through frost. I think I was thinking about how they tried to stop some of the main bad guys in Final Fantasy VIII by freezing them on the moon. But then obviously if Squall and Renault and their team didn't win, they faced them doing the same thing to them. Yeah. Wendigos and Marlboros. When enemies collide with those who want you to hide, it can be like life taking you for a ride. Good fighting bad, worse than that, like a moth escaping a bat. Not like children playing tag or a cat tied into a bag. Wendigos need to be slain, else they would be left to be a bane on a life that could have been happy. Excuse me. Like a Marlboro spitting its disease into a fight that could have been won with ease. Instead, the good are fighting the worst that life can offer. Sometimes it's worth the bother. Summary. Another Final Fantasy based poem, this time featuring two enemies that I remember being particularly hard to defeat. Marlboros would often wipe out the whole party when they first appear in a new questing area. They have a distinctive look, like a sunflower turned into a creature of nightmares. Yeah, and the Wendigos, I think, they're like green and grey and red, and they've got these like really chunky big arms, and they come along and bash you with them. They're quite hard to kill as well. But the Marlboros, if you didn't have like good equipment that was protective against they would do diseases and poison and stuff like that. If you didn't have either spells to protect against it or equipment to protect against it, they could just one-shot your whole party. Yeah. Okay. Page 18. Finding things hard. When life throws you around and you can't even find a way around your troubles. It could make you feel lost, adding so much cost. Being helpless isn't what you want. When you find you're living on what feels like a battlefront. Needing a friend or a lover when you're in trouble, they would bother to ask you, are you feeling okay? This poem was written when I was considering how it feels to be faced with what seemed like at the time insurmountable problems, and how much it helps to have someone you can share those with. How much it helps to have someone you can share those worries with. That knowledge that they would be there for you, they would care about your mood and notice if your answer to their question indicated that you might be struggling to cope with things. This one, I guess I was having a day where I was just worrying about things. I was thinking, who could I talk to? I have some friends that I talk to, but who would I talk to? Like say, I'm feeling a bit stressed and worried. Can I tell you what I'm worried about? And to not feel, I have friends that would happily listen, but to not feel like I'm imposing my problems on them. Yeah, they would bother to ask you, are you feeling okay? Yeah. When Squall loved Renault. When Laguna found himself lost, he wasn't the one to find Ward, an enemy in a horde. Squall felt he could fight them all until he faced Cypher, and needed his friends, a team made of more than just men. His love Renault, her faithful hound Angelo, and the Timberwolves. Balan was more than a fighting pen, it was a training ground where warriors were found, and the future of their world rested on those of the best training. Squall promised to himself that he wouldn't let her down, but until the battles were won, they couldn't rest happily and find a place in the sun. summary. This is another exploration of the love between my two favourite characters and talks about the enemies they face together. There was only a little bit of space to do a summary on this one because it's quite a long poem. Yeah, this one I wanted to mention in case you haven't played Final Fantasy. Laguna is one of the characters, and so is Ward. And they, you start off thinking that they are enemy, like that they are the bad guys because they are part of the enemy military faction. But it goes through flashbacks, and you eventually unravel this really complicated storyline, and they're not actually the bad guys that you think they are. But yeah, the story behind Rinoa is she starts out as she is not actually really a member of Belon Garden. She hasn't been trained to be one of the seed fighters. She is part of a this rebel faction that are based in one of the nearby towns. They're called the Timber Wolves, and the first mission that you meet up with them is Squall and Selphie and let me see if I can remember. I think it might be Quistis and Zell. I'm not sure if Quistis is involved in that mission. They're given a mission to help the Timber Wolves, but they're actually Squall gets quite annoyed. I think that he's given the mission to go help the Timber Wolves, but he's told that they're being assigned to help the Timber Wolves until independence is gained in the town that they're trying to make be independent of the invading military faction. So it's like an open-ended assignment. Squall expects that they're being sent just for this like 2-day mission, and then they'll go back to the garden and they'll do some more training and then go on another more exciting mission. But instead of that, they're sent to be sort of the hired help for this faction called Timberwolves, and they end up going all over the world with them and stuff. And then that's how they fall in love. But yeah, they first meet at the like I said in the other poem, they danced at a ball. First line of the one that's the title is around the other way. Because Rinoa she's there to solicit this help. So she gets invited to the ball and she speaks to the leader of the garden, whose name is President Sid. And she manages to get this agreement that she's assigned a few fighters. She's not assigned like the best fighters, she's assigned the ones that have just graduated. But yeah. It's been a long time since I played Final Fantasy VIII. But yeah, Chocobo City. A place for the magical birds to rest their tired legs, nest their eggs, let them speak their walk words, breed them, feed them, figure out why they need them. Chocobo riders practicing for racing, learning their pacing, feeding them greens, finding the best ones to preen, keeping them lean and racing keen. A city of bird-soul wonders, hidden away so that no one plunders. Summary. Inspired by the magical birds in Final Fantasy games, this poem is about how they are shown to lead happy lives when bred for racing. They have dedicated keepers, luxury pens to sleep in, the best food to keep them healthy, and the best training and exercise. Yeah, I based this not on a specific Final Fantasy because Chocobos, and that's not even how you meant to say it, I suppose. As kids, because Final Fantasy didn't have voice actors in the originals. As kids, me and my siblings called them Chocobos, but then when you hear them in the ones nowadays where they have voice actors, they call them Chocobos. It just sounds fun. Yeah. Yeah, this is not based on a specific Final Fantasy. Although the stuff about racing them is based on the Gold Saucer racing. Yeah, because they have different methods of both catching, breeding, and interacting with the chocobos in each of the different Final Fantasies. Like Final Fantasy IX, it's special chocobo forests that you find in the world, and you have to do chocobo bowling. Whereas Final Fantasy VII, it's they turn up in normal fights where you're walking around the world, but it's only when you're walking over the footprints. And you have to throw special food at them. Final Fantasy VIII, it's let's see if I can remember. Maybe it was the Chocobo Bowling in the Forest was Final Fantasy VIII. It's been a long time. I know Final Fantasy IX didn't give such an emphasis on them being that important, whereas in Final Fantasy VII there was the whole breeding system and gold saucer stuff and flying around on the I think it was the black chocobo. Once you got that one, you could fly around the world on it. But yeah, I think that will do for now because this is page 20.